with one death. It was absolutely devastating. As we can see, we are into the picks and bans.
And surprise, surprise, God JJ's back. All right, HKE, they're like, okay, we gave up our one game. Yeah. We're serious now. It's time to go back. It's time to, we're taking this serious. Yeah. No surprises as we already jump into picks and bans that they swap that one out. I think this is a good choice from Hong Kong Esports. And let's talk about the bans, Art.
Yeah, so the Cassiopeia and the Nidalee have just been consistently banned out this entire time, as has the Rise. The Morgana, yet again, getting that respect ban out from Ola, and this time the Nautilus is going to be taken away from LOFS, who played superbly on that.
LOFS had literally so many skill shots that I did not think would hit, that he hit with just literally the edge of the hitbox, yeah. The perfect edge, that last pixel that he hit toys with time and time again. This ban it away. That guy has perfect knowledge of that skill shot, consistent use. I like that. That was a big factor in why the team comp that Midnight Sun was so effective, is because they had that guaranteed engage from the depth charge, and also apparently the guaranteed hook, because you know, LOFS was just on point.
Yeah, he was throwing them out. Felt like I was watching Mad Life or something like that with how many hooks he was landing. But last ban, this is something that we have to talk about, is this Gragas now being taken away. And like you said, part of that game, part of the reason why Midnight Sun played so well in the game is because Empty seemed like he was much more comfortable on that Gragas. But now we're back to the same junglers that we had earlier on. We had the Echo, the Rek'Sai, the Evelynn. What does Empty take this time to still give him that comfort and allow for MSE to, really excel moving forward?
And I'm a little disappointed that they banned the Gragas here. I think they could ban Ola's Thresh, which is obviously a very important power pick for him. You can see that they've locked that in. Obviously, HKE are aware of how good Ola is at that. No surprises. But the big issue is, like, the jungler for Empty has to be a priority. The good news is Kalista has been left open. They've now locked that in, and that's a massive pick for the team.
Yeah, and this is one that we have not been able to see yet tonight. The other thing is Maokai has been taken away from Mei this time around, so he will not get to play that for the 4th time in a row tonight. Had a little bit of a lackluster performance this last time around, but a lot of that was in part due to Stitch's Cogmaul being so well that he could just rip through that Maokai's HP bar.
Yeah, definitely agreed. And the team really wasn't structured to follow up on a lot of Mei's engages, and they didn't really have the dynamic as a more experienced roster and playing together, that they could, like, tell Mei, hey, like, go in only here. Mei was very used to just always going in, always trying to find those engages, because that's the style they played. So just struggle to shift up a little bit there. LOFS on this Maokai, obviously a very solid player overall. Used to sometimes more carry style top laners, but is always going to be able to play this Maokai very well. Kalista as well, coming in for Stitch. This is, if you want your AD carry to carry a game in the same way that he did previously, Kalista's an excellent pick for this. Now paired with the Braum, they're going to have a reliable way to throw that Braum into the backline, meaning that Glacial Fissure, which we described as just a disengage, is now an engage as well.
Yeah, and I mean, Chunks has been getting pretty bullied out in the last times that we saw him play this Braum, but now with the Fate's Call, Stitch will be able to drag him to safety whenever needed. So really solid pickup there. MSE, they're going for this Echo yet again for Empty, so instilling some confidence into him after that last game. We'll see if that's able to carry through, and if he's able to have a strong performance like he did on that Gragas last time. But over on the side of HKE, looks like God JJ hovering over the Sivir, had a very good game on it. Not last, obviously, but the one before that in Game 2. So unsurprising that they want to go for this one, but on the hunt doesn't necessarily synergize too well with a Rumble on the team.
Yeah, on the hunt, I think still a very always powerful ability. But you're right, it doesn't really have the same synergy that it did for them in Game 2 last time they played it, where they had that Victor, where they had that Echo as well. And we're going to see the Victor now as he locks it in one more time. But the big thing looking at this MSE composition is last time we saw Empty play this this Echo, he didn't really have anyone else on the team that could engage. So their engage options were so unreliable that he couldn't find or force any CC before that parallel convergence could land. So, I mean, he just had to throw it out blind every time and hope that someone would be in the center of it, hope that they would miss position. This time around, much more reliable CC options with the Maokai, much easier for him to follow up. So while it is still a huge question, I think we can expect a little bit of a better performance.
Yeah, and now with this last pick here for Candy's mid lane, Jace is available. We saw this played earlier on.
I haven't, honestly, from seeing both these teams play, it really doesn't look like either one of them are too comfortable with poke champions.
Yeah.
I would really much rather see the Azir. I know that Azir and Victor aren't as powerful as the poke picks have been in the past, but when execution is always very important. And if you're going to pick a team comp that works well with your style, that executes well, I got to give the edge here to HKE because they're a team that wants to team fight. They know that. They've played the poke comp twice. It's barely worked in game 1, did not work in game 3, and now in this game they've accepted, bringing back GodJJ, that they need to play these more aggressive team fight oriented comps. MSE on the other hand, they have every champion on this team has excellent team fighting tools. Jace with the acceleration gate does mitigate the impact of Sivir, admittedly, and so in that regard it's effective, but as far as poke is concerned, poke has not been a strategy that has worked well for Midnight Sun or Hong Kong Esports.
Yeah, and I also just like Hong Kong Esports' wave clear that they have coming in yet again. This is the same thing that we saw in Game 2. This Victor with a Sivir, Boomerang Blade, Death Ray. Even if they are down and they have to kind of turtle up in their own base, they're going to be able to clear the waves that are being pushed toward them. So really powerful clear coming out for these guys. I like their composition a lot.
Yeah, and I mean, just really for both of these teams, you can see like how they've kind of developed their composition over the matchup, how these things have changed. Little Ball's obviously prepping his team, talking. Everyone's got their headsets off, trying to communicate, trying to make sure that they have this planned out because they got that win. They're probably feeling confident, but they still can't afford to make any mistakes here.
Yeah, neither team can. Hong Kong Esports definitely want to finish this out here, end this series, and advance to play the Flash Wolves tomorrow. MSC will have to see if they're able to take us to a Game 5. It all comes down to this.
Yeah, gonna have to see, guys. We'll be back in just a second with the start of this last game as we go through one more graphic, potentially. Maybe 2 more. Maybe. I don't know. I'm excited. I'm hoping for the Game 5. I can't lie. I want to see the Game 5, but we'll have to see if HK Esports now with GodJJ back can really do it.
Yeah, Game 5 hype is very real. I think we all want to see that, not just you and I both, but we'll find out.
All right, everybody. Here we are once again, Game 4 MSE versus HKE. God, I could not be any more hyped. It's just been such a close set. What started off looking like a stomp, we've come back. It's now changed. And it looks like both teams now moving in. I mean, a little bit more aggressively this time. MSE, this is the big thing that I talked about as a weakness for them in the past, is that they didn't take the steps necessary to read the lane swap. And this time around, they're preemptively making much more aggressive moves on the map.
Yeah, you can see this Mei maybe in a bad spot. That's going to be the Q already using the flash very questionably.
I mean, I don't think it's questionable. At this point with the Braum on top,
there is
you're pretty dead if you tank that winner's bite. But, I mean, that's still huge.
Yeah, that is very massive. That's going to make him very susceptible. We have the counter pinch coming in here on the side. A nice double flay. Stitch has to burn his flash as well. The Ignite is ticking. The Flame Spitter burning him quite low. Looks like he will get out alive. Uses the heal after the Ignite has expired. He should be safe. You can see Empty throwing out that Q to slow him up as much as possible. So overall, 2 flashes down on the side of HKE. We have 3 flashes on the side of MSE plus a heal. So HKE coming out on top of that one.
Pretty disproportionate trade in summoner spells. The other big thing to note about this is that what was originally an unspotted lane swap because they burned all those spells because they invaded so deep is now spotted out. So HKE had this opportunity to respond. I think they fully expected the 2v2 lane, but are not going to be able to get it. And once again, Olet pushing in here to invade aggressively to try to shut down this early jungle just like he did in Game 2.
Yeah, he did a pretty fantastic job of that. He's going to come around the back side here, gets the flay onto Candy. They're just going to get some free damage in. Pretty nicely played. The Death Ray connects as well. Toys dodges out that Shock Blast quite well. There will be the Q coming out there from Chunks, but overall, good pressure being applied by HKE. This is them very much looking like themselves from the first 2 games, not so much that last one. I mean, it could just be the comfort of having GodJJ back on the team, maybe going with this different team composition as well, but overall, looking much stronger at the start of this match.
Yeah, and it's interesting that GodJJ isn't using the Ricochet aggressively to try to get a fast level 2 here. Instead, he's playing very far back and letting Callista, one of the strongest level 2 AD carries in the game, get that spike first is very odd to me. But clearly, it looks like he has a smarter strategy here. He wants to just freeze under this tower, knows that he doesn't want to trade with this Braum Callista when they have so much power with that Oathsworn passive, so much power with, with just Pierce and the potential to rend at any second. Probably the safer choice, although I still like to see the early aggression from Sivir because Ricochet is such an aggressive lane pressure tool.
Well, missing that cannon minion, going to have to play the CS game a little bit more effectively moving forward. We can see Dinter playing quite aggressively as well as he gets positioned in the Wraith camp here. Goes over the wall, gets a pop-up onto Candy as that Shock Blast connects. He will take a bit of damage here. Toys, though, still falling a little bit behind as their HP bars are quite similar. Candy still has a couple health potions that'll help him sustain up in this lane. Overall, though, nice aggression coming in from Dinter, looking like his former self.
Yeah, Dinter has been consistently adapting in each of these sets, which is not exactly something we can say from Empty. Empty still haven't seen much of an impact from this Echo yet, obviously very early in the game. The lane matchups, well, they're not standard lanes, right? But they're essentially standard lanes, mirrored lanes, if you will. So he should still be able to have that same impact he had in the previous game, assuming that the Echo was not the issue, assuming that it was compositional or based on that lane swap in the game too. But we're really going to have to see. Whereas Dinter and honestly Ola as well have both been roaming into this mid lane, creating early pressure for Toys. And while that early pressure really hasn't manifested in much outside of this burnt summoner, it's got to be putting Candy on edge, and that kind of pressure is pretty important in a game 4 where you're up a game.
Yeah, pressure on indeed, and expecting to see some more pressure being applied here from the side of Dinter before these flashes return. About 3/4 of the way back up here for everybody on MSE. So might be looking to make some plays. Good spell shield there by God JJ to stop out that slow, and maybe some follow-up damage from Stitch.
One of the big things I love about the Sivir pick for God JJ is that Sivir, because she clears those waves so well, when she is able to get on the hunt and she can sit in a lane safely and always be able to run out, she can just pressure by herself, right? She can always pressure, she can split push, she can sit in a 2v1 lane relatively comfortably because she can force you under tower. And what that means for Ole, one of the best roaming supports in the LMS, is that he always will be free to roam this lane once God JJ is in a position to farm safely. Haven't got there yet, but I mean, Ole is all about the roams, and as soon as God JJ is safe, he will be in that mid lane, in that bot lane, creating vision, and that's something that MSE have to be very aware of.
Yeah, I mean, we already saw that roam down to the mid lane at the start of the game. We'll try to get some extra pressure there for Toys, who has so far been falling slightly behind 39 to 46 CS, so down by 7 currently. To be slightly expected until he gets the
first augment, the augment death.
Now. So he'll be able to clear out the back side of the wave now. So that should help his CS quite a bit, and maybe we'll be seeing some more roam coming from Toys as well. So that could make for a pretty devastating gank on any of the lanes if we get a 4-man. With Dinter's help. Yeah,
and it's good that you bring up the itemization here too, because once again, the power spikes are in the favor of HKE. We have Mei in the top lane, Rumble, all about the Sorcerer's Shoes into that Haunting Guys. It costs 15 more gold now.
Yep.
Not really any different, right? Still the same magic penetration item that Mei wants to get in the early game. Similarly, Victor gets very early spikes from those Hex Core upgrades, and these guys are going to be absolute monsters if they can find a team fight, especially when God JJ has On the Hunt available. Now, the thing for HKE is, are they going to be able to find those aggressive fights? Not able to find that hook there, though.
Got JJ getting hit there. So far, just a pretty slow game. HKE did have a few aggressive moves, but right now, very even in gold. Almost dead even in gold in that regard. You can see as they tick up to 9.6 relatively at the same time here.
Yeah, I mean, small difference in the mid lane, very small. Small difference in the bottom lane. I guess small difference in the top lane. Small difference in the top laners, I was trying to say, but I guess it works out because they're in opposite sides of the map. Big question, obviously, is going to be the first neutral objective. Sivir not really known for her strength at taking neutral objectives, whereas Rumble and Victor really are. Yeah. So a lot of flexibility for what HKE can do with this early objective. MSE, you know, I'm not really sure, honestly, how this team comp's going to function. They have great tools to make picks, great tools to team fight in terms of CC, but in terms of raw damage, the team's not really there. I mean, Rumble and Victor, it's so much magic damage in the early to mid game.
Yeah, Toy's doing a good job controlling as much vision as he possibly can around his lane. Has pretty good coverage on both sides here, so he should be in a relatively safe spot. They will know if Empty starts roaming in, trying to get those parallel convergence setups. For the time being, it's really just a focus on CS. You can see still just separated by just a few CS across all fronts here. Every single lane doing a pretty good job of keeping up with one another. Dinter in this bot side of the map, just going to have to recall, not going to be able to find any action. We can see that we will have the swap back from the laner, so May going back up to his top side.
Yeah, and the swap back is a huge indication as the lanes reset that we are going to see some focus on dragging coming in from HKE because they're the first ones to make this move. Looks like MSE may have the same idea as they put both of their top laners back. Obviously that teleport will let them attend to the dragon fight if it's necessary, but not a flexibility that either of the bottom laners, the AD carry or support, have. So swapping that back, getting control on the bottom side of the map, but because HKE performed this maneuver about 10 to 15 seconds faster, you can see the difference it's made in terms of vision, whereas they have the entire bottom side of the map warded up, and they can see everywhere that MSE are putting their vision. MSE don't have that luxury. They may be able to sweep out 1 or 2 wards, but they're not going to be able to clear this all out, whereas HKE know exactly where the vision from MSE is.
Yeah, and it's not even just the vision that's fantastic here, but it's also the selection of teleport positions that HKE will have in that circumstance. You know, LOFS, he wants to have the best possible flank position, but with limited warding, he's not really going to be able to have that. May has a fantastic one on the ramp leading up to the blue that he might be able to utilize should the dragon come up in the next couple minutes here.
Yeah, and of course,
where he could come in from behind with an equalizer.
Yeah, and MSE were able to clear out the majority of the wards there, but they weren't able to clear out the deeper ones. And as you said, those are the ones that are going to be the most important for those Rumble teleport flanks, if that's how they want to go about playing the fight. But it looks like HKE, they've shifted down, they've telegraphed that they may want to take that dragon, but now they're still just pushing in the lane. Maybe, I think they might have been hoping to catch MSE out, hoping to catch MSE in a position where their bot lane couldn't respond, but of course, MSE, they may have been a little lackluster in map movement earlier in the game, but they're keeping up this time around.
Yeah, but that slight bit of lackluster movement has cost them, you know, keeping an even gold advantage here. So 3.9, it's still nothing significant, only 500 here, 10.5 minutes into the game, but still just that, you know, better instinct, that faster movement gets them a very slight advantage. Ola gets a flash flay forward, gets that dark passage as well for Toys. They get a little bit of damage in, but not quite worth, well, actually it was completely worth. Now that I think about it, they get the flash and the heal from Candy. So he's in a pretty good spot.
The 2-for-1 special on summoners in the mid
so
lane. And this is what we talked about. We said once God JJ was able to lane comfortably on his own, which honestly it doesn't really look like he is as he's getting bullied out, but once God JJ was in a position where he could survive in lane, we expected Ola to roam, and he did. He went mid, and that's going to make any gank from Dinter into the mid lane that much more lethal as we see Dinter moving in now. Oh, I don't think he was spotted either.
Yeah, he has not been spotted. He's going to go in underneath this tower, not going to be able to get really any pop-up here. But good pressure. Candy's still having to sit back a little bit. You can see Toys has started to garner himself a very slight CS lead where before they were completely even. Still, those shock blasts, you have to be worried about them. They hurt quite a bit. Now with this tunnel system already set up for himself, Dinter might be ready to go back in. Candy clearing these out as best as he can, and now here comes Empty. Up to bat, throws out the ball, but not going to be able to find any mark here. He's going to go straight back into jungling as his rates come up. Oh no, he was clearing out a tunnel. I thought the rates came up.
Yeah, not going to get too much here. Dinter,
Raptors. Why I'm calling
Dinter
them
lives here, in case you were wondering. He has made a home.
Yeah.
Empty broke it once or twice through the tunnel. Oh, here it comes.
Yeah, goes in, flashes up, gets that pop-up. That's first blood going over the Toys. The teleport's coming across. Does get canceled out by LOFS in that top side. May not going to be able to find anything here. But with Dinter around this mid lane, they're not even going to be able to try to make a play for the dragon. Now Dinter gets a pop-up onto Empty here, catches him around that Raptor camp, takes him down to half HP. Really great harass coming out from that wreck side. That will be the mid tower going down. Chunks throws out the Glacial Fisher. Toys gets knocked up, but Maybe now Chunks in a bad spot. May playing quite far forward. The equalizer not able to find any fatal damage here, but so far HKE playing this much more surgically compared to the last game. They find themselves up a kill, up a tower, and already 2.3k gold.
And I was ready to say that Dinter was kind of stubbornly biding his time in the mid lane, but at the end of the day, Candy, with no summoners, just did not give Dinter the necessary respect, or Toys the necessary respect in that exchange. And now Dinter finding himself a small lead, giving Toys a pretty substantial lead for himself now that he has those cooldown boots.
Ooh, Stitch in a bad spot. There's going to be the Dark Passage thrown out. Gets to Flay. Stitch trying to kite back as best as he can, but he's going to go down. Question is, who's going to get this kill? Actually, the Fate's Call might be enough to save his life. No! God, JJ comes up with the kill, still has his flash. Concussive blows will come through. Ola, though, with that nice Flay back on the Chunks, he goes down. The Prey Seeker to finish him off. Dinter finds that kill. They'll find themselves a bot tier 1 tower and a dragon to boot. HKE are just making plays across the map.
And sometimes when you're Braum, you push your buttons too fast and you face the wrong way on the Unbreakable. That is tough break for Chunks. Just not an ideal situation whatsoever. You know, losing his life there, losing the life of his AD carry as well. So, I mean, now this is HKE once again with the lead. And we know HKE with the lead. We've seen it twice now, and this is what we can expect. They're going to start choking out the vision. They may start pushing in for these deeper objectives. MSE this time around still have the tools that they need to get back in this game to fight effectively. But it's going to be harder than it ever has before because this is a confident HKE. They're up a game, and they're not really making mistakes. They're choosing their decisions aggressively, and they're sticking to them. They'll sit that Rek'Sai in the mid lane as long as he needs to be there to kill Candy because they know it will work.
Yeah, and it's been working so well. Now getting that first blood over to Toys has just netted himself a pretty significant gold lead here, as we can see. Toys already has his Alacrity boots completed. He's just working on the rest of his items, so he's just going to be constantly throwing out these death rays, these gravity fields to lock down Candy as much as he possibly can. Just fantastic play from HKE. Really looking like themselves from those first games. Looks like we have another swap up as Chunks and Stitch head to that top side. A lot of attention being paid here from the side of HKE, though. They want this last tier 1 tower, and it looks like they're going to be able to go ahead and get this one. Shield gets thrown down from that Dark Passage. Got JJ moving forward. You're going to try to get this one. Actually, a few hits from Dead. They have to peel back. Respect being showed there from Chunks and his crowd control, but that will be the last auto. And that's 3 towers to 0. HKE with a very significant gold lead right now for just being 15 minutes in.
Yeah, and they really shouldn't have swapped back. Here's the big difference between Kalista and Sivir if we look at what they do. They obviously both do sizable amounts of damage. Kalista with the Rend, you know, Sivir with that Ricochet in team fights. What the difference here is the way that they do things. And on the hunt for Sivir, attack speed steroid, getting that auto attack reset with Ricochet, she's able to rip through towers so effortlessly. Whereas Sivir, with that Rend, she can outsmite anybody if she goes for those neutral objectives, right? So why wouldn't she move on the bottom side? Why wouldn't she take the dragon? I'm not sure why MSE wouldn't go for that. And it's a little disappointing for them to kind of not appreciate how to use that Kalista to the best of their abilities. And as a result, they've dropped down the turret, and that gold lead for HKE is just continuing to grow.
Yeah, and they're looking to add more objectives to the scoreboard as they establish, you know, strong vision control yet again around that dragon pit. Has yet to be taken. This is a little bit more akin to the first game where we didn't see dragon taken until about 16 minutes. 5th dragon would have come in around 41, I believe, had we hit that point. So looking like it's going to be a very similar game. Just not yet really had the, I mean, they've had plenty of opportunities, but there's just been better objectives and better plays to make across the map, and HKE has identified that and, I mean, taken those opportunities. Now we can see they will, in fact, go for this dragon as Dinter has started it up. Got JJ and Toys here to really ensure control, as well as Ola playing quite far forward near the blue pit to stop anyone from moving in. So completely uncontested HKE, first dragon of the game, just under 17 minutes.
And if you think about it, it makes a lot of sense the way that they're playing this. Ola is, you know, pushing forward, being aggressive in his positioning because he knows that if MSE decide to commit on him, he can throw out a Flay and the box and the death sentence, and Sivir can just pop on the hunt and get the entire team there in the blink of an eye. Yeah. So they have that follow-up. They have everything that they need to just zone them out because Ola can play aggressively. He can move forward. He has the response available in an instant, and now all of HKE looking so confident. That 17-minute 5K gold lead, that is just so huge for HKE. MSE, you know, after looking so confident in the previous game, just appears so lost this time around. They don't know what they want to do here.
Yeah, and I almost think that instead of the JC, and this was one of the things that you were shaky about moving in, you know, in the champion select. You weren't sure if they should go for this poke composition. Maybe instead of the Jace, go for something that is reliably scaling. You know, like the Cogwall. We saw the Cogwall being played by Stitch in the last game. Maybe take that into the mid lane, where, you know, your Void Ooze can pretty much contest damage against a Death Ray.
Yeah, you can match that wave clear. Now, see, I'm not a huge fan of the Cogwall in general, but I agree, because the thing here is they need consistent damage, and maybe just a different poke champion is the answer. You could be right there. The issue is that they don't really have any magic damage here present on this team if we look at it, because their two primary damage dealers are both AD, and while Echo and Maokai can each dish out a reasonable amount, it feels like they've built a composition a little bit sloppily. I personally would have loved to see Candy's Azir once again. You saw how confident he was, you know, making plays across the map with that. And while HKE did kind of shut him out from the end there, if they had picked this strong early Kalista with the strong late Azir, I feel like they could have not only balanced out their composition, but had just a comp that works perfectly for what they want to do and plays to their own individual strengths, as opposed to playing what is potentially stronger in the current meta.
Yeah, so far this first round Kalista pickup just not paying off. Down in CS, down a death here, not able to find anything, and we can see going for the Bloodthirster build, so very
you know, it's
I guess
it's
static.
standard.
You know, it's very standard here.
So the big difference, remember, is that in this patch, the Bloodthirster is actually less impactful. He's only going to get 0.9 of that AD is going to scale into his auto attacks. His, you know, his auto attack scaling in general has been lowered. Obviously, his base auto attack damage and his auto attack scaling per level has been raised to compensate for that. So at the base, the stats are the same, but every item that you buy is going to have just slightly less impact. They're trying to make Kalista less oppressive. Unfortunately, Sivir's just oppressive as ever, and MSE looking for something here.
Yeah, we can see the red buff being stolen away. Dinter picks that one up. Not going to be able to find anything. Empty was trying to get that collapse in from the side, but Parallel Convergence not able to find anything. Meanwhile, got JJ completely on an island by himself in this bot lane, just going to take down this tier 2. This should be MSE collapsing down to the bot side to try to catch him, but no movement coming through from them as they just hover around this mid lane. So free tower being given up here. HKE just playing on all fronts of this map. 4 towers up now to 0. And you know, Dragon will be coming up in just over 2 minutes here. Or 3 minutes, yeah. I think they took it at 17, so 2.5 minutes. We'll be seeing that one come up. Candy taking a heck of a lot of damage. Flash play from Ola yet again. The Chaos Storm is running out, and Candy goes back in. He goes down twice, finds that kill. This should be the opening that HKE need to get some damage onto this turret. The Parallel Convergence comes in. Ola not going to get caught by that one, but the Glacial Fissure will find him. He gets popped up in the air. He goes down. Stitch finds his first kill of the game, and the first kill for MSE in general. God, JJ going to have to be on the run here, completely out of mana. Not sure if he has that spell shield still. Looks like he will stick around, try to get some extra minions, but mid for a support, HKE still doing a pretty good job here in that trade.
Yeah, and just once again, HKE so oppressive when they play this game with a lead, and I have to give a lot of credit over to the Sivir pick, and it's allowed them to move around the map so much faster, and it's forced MSE onto the back foot, because now they can move across the map, and they can use On the Hunt to move across the map faster, to outmaneuver MSE, and so every decision that HKE makes happens that much faster. So MSE, when they need to pull the trigger, like once again, it all comes down to that decisive engages, but it's even more so. It's amplified now with the Sivir pick, and they've been put in this position where they have to respond quickly, and while they did respond quickly in the mid lane, while they were able to pick up that kill, look at everything they got blown. Kalista ult, the Fate's Call, the Glacial Fissure, you know, Echo moving in and blowing his ult as well. And so you get 3 ultimates for a single support kill at this point in the game, and it makes it so difficult to contest anything. HKE, once again, maybe not the strongest dragon taking team because they don't have the Kalista, but if you're going to blow all your ultimates, all those skills that you have to engage, before that buff is even available, you're going to be behind very quickly.
Yeah, and that's just showing true here as we ever so steadily approach a 10,000 gold lead in favor of HKE. 0 towers, 0 map objectives being taken by MSE this time around. Just playing a completely different game this time. That death sentence will not connect on an empty, but that death ray does, and it just rips off chunks of that HP bar on empty and chunks as well. Parallel convergence gets thrown out, but not going to get caught by that one. GodJJ coming forward. Dinter is quite far forward here to tank the tower. GodJJ makes quick work of that one with his ricochet attack speed buff. You can see he's looking quite good. Static Shiv after that tower take should be coming in right away, but it's going to be the second dragon of the game spawning. They move straight onto this one. They're going to make quick work of this. No showing of MSE to be able to try to snipe this one out from that Jace. Second dragon goes over to them. We'll see that again in 6 minutes.
And unfortunately, it seems like HKE have really put on the gas this game, which means not only have they built a team comp that plays well to their strength, but also their wave control has just been much better. You can see the bottom wave pushed up so that someone had to respond, so that MSE had to choose between losing 20 or 30 CS or potentially teamfighting a dragon. And if they had gone to dragon, not only would they not have been able to take it for sure, they also would have lost the CS. So you put them in these positions where it's essentially a lose-lose. The best thing that they can hope for is a solid engage at the dragon, but even that isn't guaranteed. So you put them in these spots where they have to gamble and they have to take risks, and MSE, as a less experienced team, it just isn't going to take the gamble. They're going to take the sure thing CS that's going to keep them in this massive gold deficit over the potential for a fight at dragon, which could swing things back in their favor.
Definitely just have to play this as carefully as they possibly can. We can see now some attention being paid on the top side of the map as Ola goes in, does not land that death sentence on the Stitch. Jukes that one out quite quickly, but we can see this is a full 5-man on the side of MSE coming up to this tower as Candy gets ready to crash from beneath. Don't think he's going to be able to find any pinch. May in the bot side, teleport not available either.
One of the big things that Ola has done in the past on Fresh is he's very...
Ooh, Candy gets that recall interrupted. The flash forward by Dinner gets the pop-up. He can't even use To The Skies. Toys finds that kill now. Ola maybe in a bad spot as he takes a bit of damage. Flash forwards, gets that play, but that's going to be the face call, dragging Chunks to safety. That should be the end of the action here near the top side, but Candy just being a little bit too careless, recalling in a bad position. He pays for it with his life.
Yeah, just unfortunate circumstances, but the dedication on the side of HKE, that absurd wards per minute stat, paying off for them. We'll see this quick pick here, and they just had the vision. Candy knew that.
He sees that ward.
Well, he might not see that ward. That could be one of those awkward... I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and assume...
I think he sees that ward.
Either way, it was pretty rough, agreeably. Poor back choice. Let's go with that.
Poor back choice indeed. Stitch now getting caught out by Toys, has to burn the flash. Parallel convergence coming in. Not going to be able to find the stun, just going to get that shield. And now that's going to be the teleport from LOFS as he tries to join the fray. Dinter just on Stitch. The heals comes across, but he's just so damn tanky. He does get locked up by those concussive blows. He's got so many Ren stacks in him, but it doesn't even matter because GodJJ shows up and he gets the kill. He gets the double kill, but he does go down. That's Candy able to find that kill. So far, it's a 3-for-1 with May barely walking out with his life. He does go down actually now, so a 3-for-2 still in favor of HKE. Maybe playing this a little bit sloppily, but they're moving forward and trying to get some pressure in onto this top tier 2 tower with Ola, with Toys and Dinter. They may be able to make this work in their favor. Candy's doing everything that he can, using all 6 of his abilities to stop that from happening as much as he possibly can. So should stave off that push, but a lot of pressure been coming in on that bot side of the map. Let's go ahead and take a look at this engage.
This is so good for Dinter. He pushes in, but the winner's bite keeps him safe. And of course, Bren, the constant threat to get in position. I would say over-aggressive flash from GodJJ there, but does secure the kill, moves in, gets that one on Chunks, completely chunked out. Candy also getting, able to grab that one back. And LOFS, really good to lock down that Rumble, make sure to kind of limit his impact, limit his ability to move on to Candy. But May, I think, an aggressive player, very good when playing aggressively if it's the right circumstance, but sometimes too aggressive, right? Which is what we saw from him last game, which is a little bit of what we're seeing from him this game. And if the team fights as 5, he's always going to be where he needs to be because he's great as an aggressive player. But unfortunately, just not so in that situation.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be too upset there. We're going to see he's still going to continue this aggressive streak now as he looks to get his Void Staff. So really just adding on the AP. Already has that Haunting Guys in the zone. He has to really help out. Stitch taking a heck of a lot of damage as that Chaos Storm comes across. Glacial Fissure, very nice down the channel to stop any further aggression on the hunt. Has been burned out from GodJJ, so
And look
Major
at the way
engage tool burned out.
HKE are splitting and pushing every lane. They know and they've seen that they have the superior wave control, so they're forcing, once again, forcing MSE to make a decision by pushing out each and every one of these lanes simultaneously. And when MSE split, this is when that goal difference is really going to shine through, because there are some members of their team that are stronger than others. The Kalista and the Jace reasonably caught up, but the rest of the team are so far behind that if you split them, you're going to have a reliable option. Uh-oh.
Oh, MT taking a lot of damage up from that Flame Spitter. They go onto Mei with a very nice equalizer. Chunks is just getting burned down. Empty as well. Chunks could be the first one to fall. Now LOFS is quite far forward. They get to the skies over onto God JJ though, and he goes down. Candy able to find that kill. LOFS will walk out with his life, but barely so. Flash still available for him. But look at Dinter down in the bot lane. They're just going to try to stop these recalls as best as they possibly can as he ends that tower. That will be the 6th of the game. There it is. Empty roaming over to try to stop this one, but I think the Tinter could actually win this 1v1 without very much issue. He will peel out, however, and now with his Void Rush available, he could join his team. Death sends over the wall, not going to connect onto Candy, so it looks like they may just peel back out of this one, but they're going to be quite happy with having that open inhibitor in the bot lane.
And this is the other thing that we need to talk about. Obviously, God JJ has been having some huge positional mistakes this game, but the beautiful thing about the way HKE have built their composition with the Sivir is that as long as he gets a good on the hunt off and takes someone else with him, that's the only impact he needs to have, because the rest of the team will still get the benefit of at least a little bit of that movement speed story, allow themselves to reposition, and there's a lot less pressure on him. With Corki, you need to have an early to mid-game impact. With Sivir, you need to ult in the right spots and you need to group as a team, and that's a lot easier for our HKE to do. It's the style that they've always liked to play. Back to the early season when they used to play these 5 bruiser compositions and just wait for mid to late game team fights. Obviously have improved tenfold since that point in the season, but still very strong in that kind of style of play.
And we can see that 3rd dragon of the game gonna go down. HKE complete control. MSE just getting locked out of these map objectives, still have yet to take a single tower. You know, if they were able to take 6 towers in match, there would not be nearly as large of a gold lead for HKE here.
No, and unfortunately, once again, this is MSE just not really having reliable wave clear tools. Poke mages are excellent. They have pretty solid wave clear options, at least in terms of the enhanced shock blast from Jake or the empowered shock blast, but not so good. Uh-oh.
Oh, yeah, the Chaos Storm has already been burned out. Oh, wow, huge chunks of damage coming out of Stitch, and Chunks go down. Meanwhile, on the backside, Candy doing what he can. Ola comes forward quite low, still tries to get that Death Sense, not going to be able to find it, but Toys looks like he's going to be able to find Candy. He does, takes him down. That's going to be a 3-for-1 so far. Dinter, the only one on HKE that has died. Now 20 seconds on the death timers here. Looks like it's going to be 2 inhibitors going down this middle and bot one. They might go for the end of the game, but I don't know if they want to overstay their welcome here.
And Dinter turned what I thought was, you know, a very mediocre engage from HKE into an impressive engage. Got that knockup, got the AoE damage down from the team, and pulled it out in a way that made the team come out on top. And as you said, 2 inhibitors going down, not done yet.
Yeah, he has the box drop. Gets a couple of those walls pop, but this is going to be MSE looking for some return kills as they finally find one onto the support of HKE. But let's take a look at this engage again.
So, you know, good disengage coming out, obviously stopping this. You can see the way that they set up the fight to have it execute well, but Chunks with that great disengage as you're talking. On your screen, though, you're going to see Chunks die in the bottom left-hand corner. We'll make it a replay of that one, too. But Dinter, Flash goes in. We're not going to watch that replay. We're on to the real thing.
Yeah, and Stitch has already been taken solo. Dinter goes in, pops that rando in to try to get the slow out, but it looks like they might just go for empty. Stitch completely cut off, has to sit right next to that equalizer. Almost goes down. That was beautifully placed by Mei, unable to get the kill, however. Now empty still on the run. Toys using that siphon power to try to get the speed boost here. He's just a little bit away. Oh, a few more seconds and a little bit more damage from that death ray. And he gets it yet again. And this is what happens when you get a CD, a Victor with some CDR here. The alacrity boost really just doing work for him. And that's going to set up for HKE to go ahead and start up this Baron, which should be taken with relative ease. Ola playing on the backside of the pit here, trying to stave them off as long as he possibly can, but you'd have to have a flash over the wall. You'd have to have Stitch throwing that Q to try to get this one. They're going to throw the Fate's Call. The Baron goes down. Dinter has confirmed that one, and now LOFS is actually in the backside. God JJ gets taken out. That's going to be Mako now. As soon as he exits the Zonia's Dinter, he does find the kill on this Stitch, but it looks like it's going to be a 3-for-2. The Baron does go over them, but look at Toys on the bot side. He's got the super creeps pushed up. They find a Nexus Tower.
The backs.
Dinter goes in. He stops 2 backs out of 3. Empty is going in over to Toys, who has no mana whatsoever. And now Dinter looks like he's going to fall as well. Can he finds that kill? Toys, can he get out alive? I don't think it's going to happen. He pops the Zonias for good measure. He will fall. That's the ace as MSE sweep up HKE. They get the Baron, but they don't get to keep any of the buffs.
No, and that's going to be huge moving forward. It's going to make it that much more difficult, but with 2 inhibitors down and a 10k gold lead in the favor of HKE, creeps pushing in the base, the Nexus Tower down as well, and a beautiful split push from Toys. If Empty had not come up, you know, if Empty had 10 more seconds on that death timer, we would have seen a game end in the favor of HKE. Just barely able to make it. Dinter, clutch play to stop those backs, keep Toys alive as long as possible, ensured that Nexus turret would go down. And, you know, HKE still finding advantages. This is the thing we talked about. MSE finally pulled the trigger, finally get the fight they want, and are able to ace them back. But because HKE have been the team that never trades, gives up anything for free, they are able to take something back in exchange.
Yeah, fantastic play by these guys. Keeping themselves in the game as much as possible, not having those Baron-empowered super creeps pouring into their bases, certainly going to help them out a lot. We can see Dinter trying to play forward on a Candy, though. That's going to be the death sentence over the wall. They're going to take him out. The question is, who gets the kill? It's Dinter, in fact. 3-2-7 on that Rek'Sai now, still playing quite far forward. Does get stunned out. Chunks gets grabbed up by that death sentence, but the face call takes him to safety. But Ola follows quite far forward. The Glacial Fissure knocks him up, and now Dinter is so far forward in the base. God JJ over the wall finds that kill on a Stitch. They're kiting back as best as they possibly can, but Toys has so much damage. Ola still in here despite being near dead, and I think with those 3 kills coming out from HKE, they're gonna take down this last Nexus Tower. They're gonna take down the Nexus, and they're gonna take this series over MSE, and they're gonna move on to play the Flash Wolves tomorrow night.
I am just absolutely blown away by the confidence in the plays coming out from HKE. I mean, these guys, I feel like the 3rd place team, we never saw them this confident in the regular season, but against MSE when it counted, the team that they split games against in the regular season, no, not today. 3-1, you know, not going to split anymore, not going to let it get to that 5th game, playing with so much confidence. Ola getting the hook time and time again, getting the hook mid-Fates call to keep him on top of that Braum despite the fact that he had become untargetable, and just excellent play, good use of the Rumble ult. That horribly awkward moment for Stitch where he had to stand still. Favorite part of the game, by the way. But, you know, just great. At the end of the day, Hong Kong Esports, the better team, showing why, or they've earned this veteran status, showing why these guys have played the games for so long. I mean, Season 2 World Championship, still one of the best mid laners in his region. And you can see why. Just absolutely insane performance.
Yeah, Toys in that game just completely going off on Victor. But yet again, I think we have to give huge props to Dinter, just controlling the map time and time again, having such a great game with that Rek'Sai this time around, the first time that we saw him playing tonight. And, you know, it just goes to show how much he really has improved with these champions in the jungle. He's just been playing out of his mind tonight.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, I mean, Dinter was amazing. Ola was amazing on the Thresh. Now, if you are not an LMS fan, you know why that is banned from him every game.
Yeah. Landing
the hooks. Even just throwing out blind hooks when he could and generating so much pressure across the map. Doing so well. And, you know, at the end of the day, really, we're just seeing the more experienced, more comfortable team carrying through. For MSE, they still have to be happy, though. This is a 4th place finish for them. After being a middle-of-pack team, they have leveled up. They're not quite a top team in Taiwan, but they are performing better. Yeah,
they've been doing fantastic. Like we said, they weren't in the top 4 last split. They are this time. They're improving. For them to, you know, be able to come into the top 4 and play in the playoffs over Taipei Assassins, that is a huge feat. So they've been doing so well. And it's, you know, they're down but not out. There still is another opportunity for them to, you know, try to win their way into that last world seat later on in August when we have the finals. Yeah. But for them, you know, good game.
Yeah,
and just
for these playoffs, they are out now, but you're right. They did play so well. And, of course, guys, that means that Hong Kong Esports will be moving on tomorrow to play against the Flash Wolves in yet another exciting best of 5.
Yeah.
As you can see here on your screen, Flash Wolves, I mean, this is going to be another epic matchup. Once again, going to be about the junglers. Dinter truly leveling up. Is he ready to compete against Karsa? We're going to have to find out. Can Toys keep up with, I mean, the prodigy of the LMS, Maple? Just a lot of questions we're going to have to see tomorrow. going to be, I would say, even just as exciting, if not even more exciting, as these two teams clash.
Yeah, and I think that if Hong Kong esports from games 1 to 4 show up, they're definitely going to give Flash Wolves a run for their money, which likely means that we will see God JJ starting in. God Kwai, unfortunately, just not paying off for them. So an interesting experiment, but it was certainly a massive defeat for them that MSE was able to take up. Maybe we'll see Stanley coming back as well, since they're playing against the number 2 seed in the LMS. Not sure what's going to happen, but I do know that's going to be damn exciting when we get to that point tomorrow night.
Yeah, definitely. And of course, guys, so for us at the end, for us here at the it's a struggle.
各位现场重要是你在线上收
For
看
us here at the English broadcast, thank you so much for watching. We're so happy to be here. I know this is the first time the LMS has really had an English broadcast in a long time from both me and Achilles. It's been an absolute pleasure, and we will see you guys tomorrow night.